don't be afraid to educate yourself. I know human trafficking is a big, can be scary 2 words, but it's nothing to be scared of. It's something about empowering yourself, protecting your loved ones, and that's not to be scared of. That's just being wise and just protecting those in your life.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to my show. My name is Tiffany Alexander, and this is Unveiling Journeys. I'm so excited to have you here. Just let me tell you a smidge about myself. I love people. I love getting to know cool people. I love the thrill and the joy of hearing someone's story and cracking into what it is they're doing and why they keep showing up, usually as a business owner or as an entrepreneur. And whenever I get to a chance to hang out with phenomenal people, I do my best to remember the scripts that I've been told to employ, which is saying like, "Wow, you're so fun, you're so cool. How can I get to know more people just like you?" Or how could you introduce me to people that you think I should know because we've just hung out? And also, by the way, that tends to lead to me saying, there's people that I know that you need to know, and I hope that I can do my best to connect you with them. And along the way, the podcast was born because there's a lot of people that were just so darn cool. I could not contain them, and I wanted to tell the world about them. And so those are a lot of my guests nowadays that get referred to me. And I love it because I get to promote them and share them and tell everybody what phenomenal people are doing in the world right now that sometimes are a little too quiet or sometimes just need to be louder with what it is they're doing. So anyway, I'm excited to have you come with me today. I was in a networking room with a phenomenal human being, and that was exactly where I met Sarah, our guest that we're having on today. So, Sarah, welcome. Thank you so much for being here with
Yes.
me. I'm so excited to share your journey in this, but let's do this. Tell everybody what you're up to right now and kind of like what you're doing.
Yeah, so my name is Sarah Ricks. I am a president of a nonprofit called I See Rose Movement, which essentially is a movement. It's about fighting human trafficking using the visual arts. And it's driven from my own passion, my own dreams, and as a little girl, dreaming big dreams, and then knowing what it was like to see those dreams stolen. And then when I found out that that was a reality, not just for someone like me, it was a reality for victims of human trafficking. And that's where I related. And so it burned in me to want to make an impact by using the visual arts, which I love as a form of storytelling and connecting with people's hearts. And through that, I was able to connect with people and to educate and to empower everyone to protect everyone in their lives. And I call it roses. Every person is a rose. Every person is valuable and should be protected. Their dreams should be protected, their identity, their voices. So that's kind of what birthed out of all of that. And I know we'll dive even deeper on it. But yeah, currently I'm working on a few video projects and events and just few exciting things coming down the pipeline. So I'm just thrilled about the impact and the people's hearts that are touched and moved and want to be involved. And yeah, it's just very exciting.
This is so phenomenal. I love that you've launched from your story that we'll get cracked into this amazing company that you're showing up and telling people all of these golden nuggets and this path and putting on live events. It's important for the world to have people like you to show
Mhm.
up and advocate for something so um almost like people are turning a blind eye to it and then they're nervous to
Mhm.
get into even saying human
Yeah.
trafficking out loud because it's
Yeah.
scary and dangerous. And even you said yourself, like, I say what I can say, right? Like, you don't, you want
Mhm.
to make it to keep spreading the word in a gentle manner, but
Yeah.
also we got to get out there. Man, this is
Yeah.
so fun to be able to tell your story here today. Let's do that. Let's start from the very beginning of your journey. Let's unveil your journey, right? Like, where are you from, and would you want to be growing up, and how does that whole story start?
Yeah, so I grew up in rural North Carolina. I was in a private school growing up, so I didn't have in touch with the arts, but my dad had a movie wall, like just so many movies. And it just, from a young age, I was visualizing myself in stories, creating them in my head. I was even writing them down as my first script when I was 11. And I even told my friend at 12, I'm going to be a movie director. I just love telling stories. It was just my passion, and I'm very visual, and I was so engaged with just the stories on the screen, and it excited me, and I'm very creative, and I just loved as a director, you could do so many creative things and tell a story so visually in so many ways. So I was just in love with that. The only thing was I didn't have a film class. I never even touched a camera. That's when we didn't have iPhones back then. So I didn't have a touch with that dream. So by the time I was a teenager, graduating high school, I was a bit lost, and I also was like searching, and I found God essentially as a teenager when I was in a dark place. And so I thought, oh, am I supposed to do this for God? I want to help people. And it was, in a way, a healthy way if people do love God and they pursue it. And I'm all for that. But it wasn't my dream to go into ministry. But at the time, that's what I was told I had to do. And so when a church came into town preaching this big message about pursuing God and making a difference in the world, some of those points clicked in my head. Unfortunately, it led me into a cult. And it was terrible. And I was there for 6 years. And the one thing knocking at my door was my dream. It just kept knocking while I was there. And someone from outside of the church who visited connected with me and said, Sarah, you need to go to film school. And so that's what I did in year 2014. And this was in Florida too, by the way, where this cult was. Film school knocked at my door. It took me far enough where I couldn't attend that cult anymore. And eventually I realized what I had been through and was able to digest my experience. I did gain PTSD from it. I was in a really dark place because I couldn't comprehend the trauma I had experienced. And I had lost my identity, my dreams, my voice, all of that being there. But it was in pursuing my dream at film school that I found my voice. I found my identity again, and I was able to pursue my dreams, and essentially it saved my life. And it was just a beautiful thing. And then when I found out what human trafficking was around 2017, I just broke. Something in me was felt like it was familiar, like someone else mind controlling another individual. That related to my heart. I was like, I understand that their identities are stolen, their dreams are stolen, and their voices are silenced. I was like, I understand those mechanisms. I understand what that feels like. And so I was just like, oh my gosh. And I just had to do something, and I'm a filmmaker now at this point, and I was like, "Oh, I gotta tell a story. I've gotta do something using my passion." And I kept hearing, "What does it look like?" Because even I was like, "What does it really look like here in America? Human trafficking isn't kidnapping. It isn't chains and cages. What? It's Americans." Like, so I was just like, wow, I need to show people like what this looks like so that they can protect their loved ones. And so I wrote a feature film called Rose in the Sky, which is now still in development, and I'm getting amazing interest on it now. But back then, I wrote this film called Rose in the Sky about a girl with a name called Sparkle, and she is a victim who is, sorry, um, she's a victim of human trafficking. So we find her in the place where she's trapped. Why is she stuck there? Why doesn't she leave? She's an American. She's, the average victim. She's 17. Why doesn't she just leave? Why doesn't she get help? Like we find out the really tragic part of the mind control aspect, why victims are so enslaved and trapped. And then in this story, she pursues dance. She pursues her dreams hiding from her trafficker. And in that, she finds her voice. She is able to express such deep pain, and she finds hope, and she just finds everything she had been everything that had been stolen from her. And then in the end, she's empowered to get out. She's able to get out of her situation, be free mentally from her trafficker. And then we see as an audience like the different forms of how victims are brought in through her perspective, and then how they struggle with getting out, and why it isn't just so easy to just leave. And it's interesting just to see that the American victim doesn't look like what you think it is, and just how they're brought in is not the same. And you just see through her story, it's just so inspiring. It's like, even though I haven't personally been sex trafficked, it's like seeing her survive and overcome makes me know I can too. And that's what I think will resonate with so many people around the world, is just seeing, wow, if she can overcome, so can I. And so that's what I love about the film. And so from that, she tells her trafficker, "My name is Rose." And she's like, "This is not my name." And we find out that her real name is Rose the whole time. The trafficker had redefined her identity. They even give them new names, and like that's a real thing. They give them new names and new identities. And she's like, "My name is Rose." And that's the moment she's empowered to stand up for herself and to get out and get help and find freedom. She finds freedom, and it's so beautiful. And so that's when it birthed. I was like, once you see Rose, you see what a victim is, you see what human trafficking is, and you see it now. And so that's where I See Rose movement came in. It's like now I see her, now I see him or her, and I can see what it is, and I can protect them. And so I believe it's not just the roses are victims, but they're also the potential victims. It's every single human being is so valuable and should be protected. Their dreams, their identity, their voices. So that's where it kind of exploded. And I founded the I See Rose movement just a year ago. And I'm just so thrilled about the impact. So it's been an amazing journey of healing and empowerment. And I'm just so thrilled. So, yeah, so that's kind of the short/long version of my story.
Oh my gosh, whenever you said, "My name is Rose," it, like, sent chills down my back because it's like,
Mhm,
man, you're a good storyteller to just say, "This is where she was at, and this is what she was, like, saying who I am," and to have
mhm.
the movement be able to be so wrapped up into that, like, the beginning and the end and being able to have
Yeah.
that man, this is so amazing. I love that you're doing this because we need more of this, because if we could
Yeah,
have the identifiers, or as a friend said, like, what are the smoke signals that people are saying?
yeah.
We can have that trigger something inside of us to be like, "Oh, wait,
Mhm.
this is actually a red
Yeah.
flag," not just like a kind person pretending to be your friend at
Yeah,
this point anymore.
exactly. Yeah, exactly. And just changing what it looks like because we associate the creepy white van. It's like if we just avoid the creepy white van or stranger danger, we're fine. As long as we're watching our kids on the playground, they're fine. But unfortunately, the white vans are circling these devices with the kids unsupervised by the parents. So can you imagine the whole world of white vans now have access to a child? And that can be gaming or online, like anything where someone can reach them through the internet. Yeah, so it can be a gaming console to a game, like Roblox or Minecraft, just simple, supposedly innocent games, to social media. It's not what we think it would look like back even 20 years ago or 10 years ago. It's definitely molded a lot and it's gained them more access to our loved ones. So
Yeah.
yeah.
Oh my
Yeah.
gosh, this is so incredible, and this, art I have so many questions about all of this because whenever you recognize where you're at and you had this, like, turning point to bring you to creating what it is you're creating right now, this isn't something that someone impressed upon you. This is, like, from within. You're like, "Hey, this is what
Mhm.
I'm going to do, and I'm going to invent this up." Not someone like, "You better go work for yourself," and do all this stuff because
Mhm.
entrepreneur life is
Yeah.
so tough, and
Mhm.
knowing that you're gonna have so much support and backing all this is so incredible because,
Yeah.
so many people want to be involved in this because it really does pertain to their family and their kids and even
Yeah.
adults, like, right? Like, oh my gosh. Tell me what it was like whenever you started your company, because I know you're just 1 year new into this, this new organization that you developed, your mission that you are after, the certain, like, type of person, and then also who is it that you're thinking, "I wanna bring these people on board with me that
Mhm.
resonate with where I'm at," like, what in business we call it, like, who's your ideal client? Like, who are the people that if they're sitting listening to this right now, they should think, "Oh, I wanna contact you." Like, what does that look like?
Yeah, so there's 2 sides of it, right? They're the people that I want to bring awareness to and educate and empower, right? So, um, like, I can't tell you, how many stories I've heard of parents, who had a minor, be exploited, and it could be sex trafficking or just a predator online. So whatever form of exploitation, and the parents saying, "I wish I would have known." And when I heard a case, there was a woman who attended a sentencing for a trafficker of two of her three daughters, and one of them had died at 14 under the traffickers. In the yeah, And I just remember her just bawling in the outside, just saying, "I wish I would have known," you know? So that's my heart is I want to be able to empower parents to protect their kids. And right now I'm working on a training series that teaches on online safety as well as a book that's going to be for each age range, even up to seniors, because that seniors more involve scams and same kind of techniques of grooming and manipulation. So it's the same thing.
You're blowing my
And
mind right now because you're so
yeah,
freaking accurate.
yeah, it's so crazy. And so imagine those same techniques that are used on seniors are used on a 12-year-old. And now with the prevalence of AI, like now they can take an image of a child or a voice of a child, duplicate it, and then make the child think, oh no, I'm naked, or I'm in a vulnerable space. And then the person is demanding, I'll give this image to XYZ people if you don't give me more, and or the crazy call to a parent from their child's voice, like the scam, like the way they can fraud or coerce and um, force a child or an adult into things is so scary now with the prevalence of AI. It's like AI is definitely a gift. But then there are people out there using it as a tool for evil. So my ideal audience is definitely the parents and then definitely the children because they're vulnerable. They don't know. So if we can educate the parents and equip them how to teach their children and become a safe space, that's really important because if they don't even feel safe to tell you something happened, like who else do they tell? So if we can give them the tools to know who to go to, who they feel safe to talk to, and create that safe space for when something is wrong, when they're being which is called sextorted, like when they have an image of them and that the person exploiting them is trapping them like a blackmail with sextortion, so like giving them the tools to be able to know what to even that recognizing when they're being groomed, like this just doesn't feel right, and so that that child, recognizes, wow, I saw this video from IC Rose movement and it stuck with me in my heart. And this seems familiar. I think this is a bad situation. I need to just disengage, block, or tell my parent or police, whatever it is. So just really equipping the children and empowering them as well. And so that they know what to do when they're in situations that don't feel right. And then also just the first, what wall of safety is like, don't friend anyone you've never personally met, and like things like that, parents can teach their kids, and what's different methods they can do to oversee and make sure they're safe. If there's anything questionable that comes on their child's device. So yeah, those would be like the first wave is the people we want to help, and then the second is also just people who want to be involved with that kind of work is educating and protecting children and even adults like college kids, or I should say kids now, but college adults, young ladies have been exploited. They have perfect grades, everything, but they get someone with the same techniques come in online dating. And they get trapped too. And then you think, well, they're adults, they can fend for themselves. No, it's the same trappings, just like domestic violence relationships. They say that most of the, a higher majority in domestic violence relationships are actually highly intelligent. So how do they get trapped? So it's the same, grooming is very, very manipulative and clever. So if we can equip them with those tools, that would be great. So yeah, the ideal partner is someone who has a heart for that, who wants to see more protection. We need to reach the kids where they are. So my goal is to create TikTok videos as well, videos that we can send ads to right where they're on those stuck on those devices, addicted to the screen. That ad points up and it might pinpoint something they may already be experiencing, or a friend they know may be experiencing and could warn them and protect them and save their life. So there's
Yeah.
so many ways to go. But yeah, I'm just so thrilled about what we can do and using the arts. I think it's visual is like it's like says 50% more you retain more 50% more if you see it visually, So, and most of the information we get is 90, as they say it's 90% is visual, So I'm like, well, how can we use that to help people? And it's one thing to talk about it, but what if you see it? What if you feel it and then you remember it for a long time, even as an adult. So, when something similar happens, you remember it. So that's kind of like the things that I've heard and have seen and I'm just excited about. But yeah, hopefully I got that question
Yeah,
right.
no, it was good. It's good.
Yeah.
You definitely answered it. So it's knowing that you are making content that's available for people that want to learn more about this, but also
Mhm.
you have this as an actual registered charity so that people that wanna
Mhm.
support work like this, you can
Yeah.
reach out. But, let me ask you this. This is a
Yeah.
lot of work, like, all the time,
Mhm.
and
Yes.
you're gonna keep pressing forward, but why do you and I think we know, but I'd love to just hear it from you, like, why do you keep doing this? Why do you keep showing up?
Yeah, that is and it's an amazing question. So, I mean, it comes back to just seeing myself as that little girl jumping around in my yard, daydreaming and dreaming. And so every time I think of a victim I can save, it's like I'm protecting that little girl that didn't get saved either. So it's almost like, it's just so redeeming and just beautiful just to know I could protect other girls' dreams or even return dreams to victims that their dreams were stolen too. So it's such a drive. It's like it's it's in one in my heart. I can't stop. I just like it's just so essential. It's hard to just close my eyes and pretend not to see. It's too ingrained in my heart, and I I just can't like not, it just breaks my heart just to think of another dream stolen, and if I could just protect it, one more identity, one more voice, it's just I can't not do that, and I hope to continue to do that and to protect more. And so yeah, yeah, I
Yeah.
can't stop.
Of course, I hope you don't, and I'm just
Yeah.
wanting people to hear why this means so much to you and why you aren't gonna be quitting anytime soon. At this point, people are thinking, "Oh my goodness, I need to know you more. I need to support you more. I wanna know more of everything you're putting out." Where's your favorite
Yeah.
way for people to reach out to you, to contact you, to support all of those things?
Yeah, so my website is icrosemovement.org. So that's where I have all the information about the work we're doing and a donation option, even sponsor options. So if you're interested in being a part of a PSA campaign, which I'm working on right now, you could sponsor a PSA that'll be shown across a state or nationwide and, be a part of as a partner with getting the word out and reaching people and making an impact. So you could be a sponsor of an event as well. There's events coming up that we're going to have. And also, you could reach directly to me. My email is sarah@icrosemovement.org.
Oh, perfect. Oh, this is so good. Okay, 2 more questions left before we
Yeah.
wrap up. What what's next? What's on the horizon?
Yeah, so January is Human Trafficking Awareness Month, and it's going to be a very engaging and empowering month where we bring more awareness about what's going on and what it looks like. So I have a first rally in Orlando. So we're going to have it at likely the City Hall or the administration building, somewhere that we're going to really make noise. We're inviting all the commissioners. There is a few that's planning on attending, so we're gonna bring in. It's gonna be called the Protect Rose Rally, and we're gonna bring in the arts. So we're gonna have dance and video, and we're gonna have survivors speak and talk about the impact of the arts and how to protect your loved ones and why more awareness is needed and why legislation needs to change. So that's one initiative, as well as where I just filmed a PSA campaign for buyer's legislation that needs to change. And so basically, we want more accountability for people who buy women for sex. And right now, it's just a misdemeanor for a buyer to buy a woman for sex. And it's a slap on the wrist. And here in Florida, it's illegal. It's a felony to take an alligator egg. So we put more value on that alligator egg than a human being. And the victim didn't have a choice, but the buyer did. So, and they get off with a slap on the wrist. And the way the system works with victims is they walk away with felonies. And so it's like terrible. So it's like, why is there more lack of compassion and more consequences for a victim than there is for a buyer who did have a choice for an illegal activity? So we're hoping to push that forward and launch our campaign in January. And then the vote is likely to be the end of February, where we hope there's going to be more consequences for a buyer. Because if you have less demand for product, is which what they buyer traffickers consider their victims. If there's less demand for product, there will be less demand, then less need for product. So we're hoping that will be able to make a difference. And there's only a few other states that have raised it from a misdemeanor to a felony. So we're hoping to make this ripple into other states, starting with Florida onward. So that's two of the initiatives on top of I'm doing an online safety series. That we're going to use in the school system as well as outside the school system to educate parents and children about online safety. And it'll be adapted for age groups, so middle school and high school, and kind of do an educational video. It's going to incorporate video in it. So I think that's going to be really important. And then I want this to be something we duplicate and train ambassadors. So if anyone's interested in becoming an ambassador and being a part and learning how to take this to their school system, please reach out. And but yeah, those are some immediate initiatives, and there's much more coming down the pipeline. But those are the ones I'm immediately working on.
100%. Well, this couldn't be more perfect. This podcast is scheduled to launch January 2026. So if you guys are watching this and it's any time after that, you need to go and find out and see what Sarah Ricks is doing right now. So go and follow her on her website. And then let's do this. I want to ask our last wrap up question. What do you want to leave everyone with? What are your ongoing, continuing words of wisdom, your golden nuggets to leave with everyone?
Yeah, don't be afraid to educate yourself. I know human trafficking is a big, can be scary two words, but it's nothing to be scared of. It's something about empowering yourself, protecting your loved ones, and that's not to be scared of. That's just being wise and just protecting those in your life. So, so don't be afraid to be educated and learning more, and just be empowered. To protect you yourself and your loved ones.
Oh my goodness. You are so inspiring with this movement that you've created and the fact that you understand that there are different ways that all this needs to come out for different age ranges. I'm even more excited because you're 100% right about this, all the way up to the ages that are just being
Hmm.
misled in so many different ways. And you are taking
Yeah.
a chance and making this available. Man, I'm so excited. I'm so glad that we met. And I
I know,
cannot
right?
wait for all the amazing things you're going to continue to keep doing. Thank you for coming on the show and thank you for your time. And if you guys made it this far, thank you for supporting my show and being able to say hi and reach out to all of the amazing guests that I have. And then I will see you guys on one of the next episodes. Have a great day.